Hi, still in Spain, but moved to a different location now. Hides de Calera or something like that. I can't pronounce it, but I'll put a link in the description underneath the video. The prime subject we're after this time is the Iberian Lynx. And the reason I'm sitting in the dark is we've just been down to a workman's cafe down the road to get some sort of breakfast. The hotel's not up and running at this time of the day, and then we'll be off to one of the lynx hides. So far it's not been as hot as on the previous trip. It's only got up to 33 degrees, whereas on the Manigros trip 44 degrees. But we started off with some very, very heavy rain. And not just for a few hours, but day and night. Being Spain, it dries out pretty quickly too. At first some of the roads and dirt tracks were impassable, but then we could get up to the links. There's several hides for them. They're all single man hides, so these are two separate hides. There's a gap between them, and the main draw for the links is the drinking pools. The car engine is left running as we transfer very quickly into the hides, just to try and cover up any noise. They're used to the sound of a car engine, and although it's one-way glass, there's also a layer of scrimming behind the glass, just to avoid any reflections the cats might see. And then it's just long waits. I did 4 sessions with the Lynx, and I did try to count the hours, but I lost track after 20. The main food source for the lynx is rabbits. You've got to have a good rabbit population if you want lynx. There are battery operated fans in the hide, first of all to keep the glass demisted, and then as the day warms up to keep you a little bit cooler. It does get hot, but after Manigros this is quite cool. Very comfortable in fact at 33 degrees. But long waits, and you've got to pay attention the whole time. You've got to be looking because they're difficult to see when they're in the shrubbery. And there's not that much happening to keep you entertained. We did have a couple of visits from a hoopoe, and this bird is interested in something. He knows there's something there. Whether he's detected it by sound like a thrush, I don't know, but he was very persistent in this one spot. Normally hoopoes are moving around a lot, but he's staying still. There's something down there. He knows it. Can he find it? Yep. Now what's that? It's big. If it's got 6 legs, it's an insect. If it's got 8, it's a spider. That must be a spider. That's a lot of legs. Now this next bit's interesting. Watch as he takes off one of the legs. It's about to happen now. There it goes. I guess that makes it easier to swallow. Let's look at that one frame at a time. He's got hold of a leg. A very fast shake that the slow shutter speed you use for movie can't freeze. Then another shake. And there's the leg. He didn't eat the leg, but overall I would say that's a very good meal for a hoopoe. A lot of meat on that. As well as taking off some of the legs, it clearly wants to stun it before it attempts to swallow it. As ever, I'm using the 150 to 400mm on the OM-1 body, and it's got this built-in 1.25 extender, and it's so easy to put it in and out. I'm going to throw the switch now. It's now without the extender, so it's slightly smaller in the frame. It's just so quick I make good use of that feature, and optically, unlike other extenders, it makes no difference. The image does not degrade when you've got the extender installed. There were a few small birds like herons and goldfinches coming into the drinking pool, and of course the wood pigeon. Whenever you get a bit of water, you're likely to get wood pigeons. They're great drinkers, and then using the Pro Capture, so easy to photograph them in flight. So long as they're flying in the right direction, they've got to go sideways or slightly towards you. If they go away from you, it doesn't work. But otherwise, this is just so easy to do these days with Pro Capture. It's a wonderful feature. Shutter speed 2500 or upwards. There was also a few visits from magpies. This bird's in very smart condition. His feathers look very nice. But the bulk of them were young birds and very scruffy. I don't know what they were eating at the bottom of this tree, but they were all very interested. And finally, a lynx, the Iberian lynx. Once almost extinct, its numbers are now building up. From a photographer's point of view, you're a bit disappointed to see the radio collar, and especially when it's so large. There were at least 2 individuals here that got radio collars, but fortunately there were some that didn't too. Here's one. This is a young cat. Very interested in that rabbit the adult is carrying. Worth following, I think. Interesting about the collar is in certain situations you can't see it. It's amazing how that collar can disappear. From this side, it's very obvious. This is where the aerial is sticking out. But when the cat faces that way, you can't see the collar. I was very surprised. Turns his head, and you can. And turns it back, and it completely disappears. A younger cat coming to the drinking pool. Now these pictures are taken from a different hide, only half a mile away, but all told they had 8 hides for lynx. Never did we have one in front of us for long periods. It would just be 2 or 3 minutes at a time at the best. My usual dilemma, do I take stills pictures or do I keep the video running? I wish it had caught something then. Didn't have to be a rabbit, I'd have settled for a mouse. Another thing I have to decide on, am I going to manually focus or let the autofocus work? Bearing in mind that autofocus is not as efficient in video mode as it is stills. Here I tried autofocus and it worked. And it did catch a rabbit at one point, but it doesn't stay around to eat it, it takes it off into the shrubbery. Now these pictures were taken quite late in the evening. It was very dull. You can see the colour has changed. That cat is called Romantica, and this is one of Romantica's cubs. They can identify them from the markings. Next week we'll stay at the same location, but we'll concentrate on photographing the Spanish Imperial Eagle. Thanks for watching.